Have you got any tips for me or not?
Tips on what?
Yeah.
Tips for what?
Well, on how to become this massive social media influencer overnight and just grow an enormous following.
Yeah, because it's literally like
Every time I've started looking on your profile now every day, and every time I look, so literally, no word
Jim's
flies.
just first thing in the morning, just fucking scrolling on there, just checking up on me. I
When
wonder
I
what
lived
he's
in
up to now.
Portugal, when I was in Portugal, so when like before you posted that reel, you were on like 2000 something, and then when I looked in Portugal, I was like, well, shit, he's on like 3000 now. I was like, God, he's
Yeah.
gained. And then the next thing I looked, I was like, God, he's nearly on 4000. And now I look, and he's like, you way gone beyond that. He's got
Yeah,
more.
4,200,
For
dude.
you, I had a
Yeah.
lot of followers because after that Mason Mount thing, mine blew up load, and I think it went up to 4,400 or something. I think I've lost a few hundred obviously since then. Yeah, you've surpassed me now on that. You've gone, yeah, and you just keep going. Like every time
It's
I
just
look,
it just keeps going
it's
up.
gone. Like
Like I'm having about
50
30
followers.
shares a day, mate. It's on my stories, right? And the thing is, it usually it would drop off, right? Like the most I think it's ever gone for me is like a couple of days and then it drops off.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
this has been like a week or two now where it's just keeps going up every day. And I keep having about, say, like 20 to 30 story shares a day as well.
yeah.
And it just keeps like going on up. So, yeah,
You
I mean,
keep
it's.
people commenting as well, don't you?
Yeah.
So it's
And people keep thinking it's my mum.
your mum.
So
Because
it's
I
like,
clicked on the
so
comments like the other day, and there was some. They were like, she's amazing. You're amazing." And you're just sitting back, not replying to any of them, not correcting them. You're just like, yes, I am.
yeah, that's my mum. That's my mum. But no, it's like literally, it just keeps going up. And then people are reaching out to me and DMing me and saying, "Oh, like the work that you've done with your mum is incredible," you know. And I'm just like, I have to keep correcting people
Do
in the
you say,
DM.
do you say, do you just, are you like, that's not my mum? Or are you like, thank you very much indeed?
Well, I keep saying like initially I was voice noting them back and said, "Look, in the caption I say it's a repost, and you can see it's remixed with I think her name's Honest Clay or something
Right.
like that." And I just wanted to reshare it because I thought it was a great message. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, no worries." But yeah, it's just wild, mate. And then in the end, I mean, all the comments that he was getting and all the people DMing me, I couldn't, I was sick of myself just like correcting people. So I just kind of went
Just left
along
it.
with it, you know?
Yeah.
But it is cool because now I think that video, so for people listening, it was a video I reposted of like two older people. They were like, like mid 80s, would you say? Like
Yeah, I think
maybe
so.
like late 80s. And there was this lady, shout out to Honest Claire, I think is her Instagram handle. And it's a clip of them basically like they couldn't get out of a chair by themselves and assisted. And she started barbell strength training with them. And all of a sudden they could walk again without support of what do they call those things? Like a frame, is it? Like I've got what they call them.
Yeah, I don't
Was it a
remember.
walker? Walker, is that what they call it?
Yeah, a Zimmer frame.
Zimmer frame, yeah. So they're not
Mm.
having a Zimmer frame anymore, and they can just walk unassisted. You know, they can move about. Just have to learn into like train for barbell. You know, and I thought this is on point for my brand. Like I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
repost this. You know, and and literally it went viral. Like I think now it's like I've lost count, mate. I've
Yeah, well,
gained.
when I clicked on your page, was it on the actual reel yesterday or the day before? You were on then, you had something like you had over 700,000 views on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's come up to a
That's
million
probably going to
now.
get a million. Yeah, that's absolutely wild.
So it's coming up to a million, and yeah, I've just lost track. And my following obviously has gone up by probably I don't know about 2,000 now, something
Yeah,
like that. Um, and I thought, do you know what? Like it hit me. It was just like wow, like this is such a major issue for people because I had the amount of DMs me, I can't tell you I had off it. Like people saying, how can I help my
How's your
mum,
mum doing?
my
How's your mum?
grandparents,
Yeah.
like how can I help my dad, my
Mm.
uncle, whoever it was. And it's real. Like to start the episode, I've got some statistics here, which I
Yeah, I
thought
saw
would
this
be pretty
post the
cool.
other day.
Yeah, to read out. So listen to this. This is pretty wild, right? After the age of 30, the average person loses 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade. By the time you hit 70, most people have lost so much strength they struggle to stand up without support, which is just wild, isn't it? Like standing up, I don't even think about that ever being an issue,
Yeah, well,
like
you take everything for granted when we're younger, and we just don't think we don't really believe we'll ever lose it, do we? You know,
we
and
don't. No, no, we
I
don't.
guess like you and I do because obviously this is what we work in and stuff, and obviously value the ability to like do what we both do and things. But I think like some people just just take for granted just walking out of the house, getting in the car, walking around the shops, carrying your bags home, whatever, and just think, well, this is just how it'll be. But if you stop, then sadly it stops as well. You lose the ability to do that.
Yeah, that's right. You have to earn the right to continue to do those things, don't you?
Mm.
This is a pretty crazy one. So nearly 1 in 4 adults over 65 fall each year, and falls are the leading cause of fatal injury in older adults. About 28% of adults aged 50 to 64 are physically inactive. The number jumps to over 35% for adults over 65, which is just nuts. Imagine just like not doing anything. Um,
Mm.
Sarcopenia affects up to 30% of people over 60 and more than 50% of those over 80. Physical inactivity is linked to higher rates of depression and cognitive decline in older adults. It just like keeps going on and on and on,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the statistics. And, after sharing that, I realized this is a massive issue and what we do, encouraging people to lift weights and to move and to strength train is huge,
Mm.
because the amount of people, and you can probably attest to this too, like who you hear say, "Oh yeah, I just run. I go out for runs, and I want to try and get my mile time down." And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
5K
that's
is a big
great.
difference. Yeah.
5K, 10K is great. Obviously your cardiovascular health is essential. But I just wish that same emphasis was placed on strengthening your body, because
Mm.
ultimately your mile time when you're 85, that isn't what's going to keep you out of the care home. Like
Mm.
what's going to keep you out of the care home is being able to be resilient, to be robust, to be able to produce enough force to get out of the chair by yourself. Like that's the thing that's going to keep you being independent,
Yeah.
and I know tons of fit people that are frail and they can't really be independent, because
Aerobic training, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great for your heart, but like you said, it's not building any power or strength like in your body by just
right.
going, running like, an hour every day or whatever.
So where would you start then? Say if like, because I want to talk to you about
Sprinting,
this. Eh? Would you
sprinting.
sprint?
Everyone's going to
Yeah.
sprint. That's my bias because I actually like it was a bit of a flex, but I wrote about it because like everyone wants like you do see people that get into like fitness, they get into running, and I see so many people now, I guess, like with high rocks and stuff. Like people, what everyone wants to run like 20 miles, but no one actually cares about trying to train to be able to run 20 miles an hour. And like I did
Right.
it, I don't know, back in May. So yeah, it was a bit of a flex posting about it. I was like, I'm 40 years old, I can break the speed limit. But I was like, if more people actually trained to do that than just trying to like plod along for 20 miles, they would maintain more strength, more physical capacity to do things.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's just, we talked about this tons of times. It's a skill, isn't it? Like being able
Yeah, yeah.
to do that. I wonder what mileage I could clock up, mate. Do you reckon? What would you reckon
My
I would be?
GPS on.
Huh?
My GPS on and try it. I'm
Mate,
desperate.
that's a torn hamstring waiting to happen.
But yeah, I wouldn't go from like doing like I don't know when you last sprinted, probably over a year ago, isn't it? I wouldn't go
Yeah.
flat out. I would just start like a short to long approach and literally do 20 meters and building up to it and
Right.
don't go like, oh, I know I'm going to run flat out like 80 meters here and top end
Yeah.
it.
Because like I suppose the way that I do it, I look after my cardiovascular health, but I don't sprint at all, I and really. And it is cool being able to know how to do that correctly, you know.
You just I use it as like I use that as my max power expression. Like don't write,
Right.
I squat relatively heavy for me and train with like relatively heavy weights on my chins and dips and do things like that. But for me, that's like my equivalent to you squatting like your 3RM. That's my
Yeah.
max effort work. And that's what it is really. I just think someone should just have some max intensity work in their training as they
That's
get.
true. That's very true. That's your expression of it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it
that's
really.
pretty
Where
cool.
someone else may be doing their vertical jump or something, someone else might be Olympic lifting, their barbell cleaning or snatching, like yourself, someone else is like deadlifting the world and squatting.
Dude, I'm shitting my pants for tomorrow. I've got 3x5 at 220, and I am like bricking it for tomorrow because I've squatted more for five, but never for three
Yeah,
sets across. Like it's gonna be like honestly, the amount of fatigue, like I can't explain it to you. Like it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. Like a 3x5 squat
the
with
220.
five plates.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just it's the you just don't know what day it is. You know, if
yeah.
someone asks me by my last set, Sam, what's the day today? I would not be able to tell you. You know, for
It's
about
just
2 minutes.
obviously I know that's the thing you're building. You want the 300, but is that the one that like just batters you the most, like puts you in the hole more than like the deadlift?
Yeah, I think so personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I one because I do more volume on it.
Mm.
Squat can withstand more volume
Hmm.
typically than a deadlift, so I do a bit more of it, and I am a good squatter too. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm just building my base up with it. But my nutrition, like that's one thing, because I'm doing this drug free, this
Mm.
road to 300 thing. So everything has to be on point.
Yeah.
Like the chances of me squatting 300 kilos at my body weight at 92 kilos natural, let's be
Mm.
honest, are very, very slim. If you look at people squatting 300 who are my body weight, look, 95% of them are probably on some supplementation, some illegal supplementation.
Yeah, yeah.
This is all
There's not many people
speculation, of
then, is there?
course, but
Yeah.
yeah. So everything has to be on point, mate.
Mm.
Everything has to be on point. My sleep, my calories, my carbohydrates, my protein. Like I'm obviously trying not to be too obsessive about it, but I need to fuel that. I can't be afraid to eat.
Mm.
Like so.
Is your weight back now more normal then or not to where you're trying to be?
Yeah, well, I weighed in today and I'm 92.7, which is perfect.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah.
so that's where I want to be. So, but yeah, it's just batters you, mate. Like that type of weight, 3x5. I mean, and the difference is I was chatting to someone about this yesterday. People look at that and think, so, it's only 15 reps. Well, the difference is if you give an average person 15 reps,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like they could just like it would be like nothing to them. And I had this before when people join and they'd see the program and they see 3x5 in there, and obviously it's very easy for them at the time. They're like,
Mm.
well, this is nothing. They don't get it.
Yeah,
Well,
when you
I'm thinking,
yeah, take your load, times that by 15 reps and how much weight you're moving in across three
yeah.
sets.
Well, that's it. That's the point I was coming to, is that you earn the right to lift that type of weight. So you
Mm.
start with the empty bar, 3x5, and it's easy. And your nervous system might only be able to access, say, or have about 20% of your muscle mass actually contribute to that set. Now, you keep going and load the bar and earn the right to add weight to that bar. 12 months later, you're a different human being. And now your muscle mass, you can recruit probably about 60% of that. And
Mm.
then, but so what 15 reps means to me versus what 15 reps means to the average person is completely different. It's
Yeah.
completely different stimulus. And I think that why I'm bringing that up is that I saw this great quote by Dr. Fred Hatfield where he said, if you want to train like a horse, you can't eat like a bird.
I
Right.
saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's really profound because you see people today that are just under recovering because they're just not willing to eat. They just
Mm.
don't eat because they've been told on social media, oh, you need to cut, you need to fast, you need to do this, that, and the other. nobody's talking about eating more, and saying you need to fuel your performance. Like hardly anyway. Maybe nobody's a stretch, um, but yeah, it's just crazy, mate, how, not more people are pushing that message. You need to eat. Like, if you want to be strong, you need to fuel that. Um, but anyway, I want to come on to you about nutrition for older people, because I know we covered this, I think, about,
Yeah,
well,
we
was it
did.
about a year ago, wasn't it? But maybe I thought it'd be valuable to rehash that one, maybe. What would your recommendations be for someone who's a bit older then?
For someone who's older, I would obviously absolutely prioritize first thing would be their protein intake, just because I mean, if we're taking someone, if they're active or not active, often um, people as they get older, some people, so there's like a couple considerations. Like obviously, one is to try and offset sarcopenia, as you mentioned. Another thing is that when some people get older, some they maybe because they're moving less, or just as they're older, they tend to have a lower appetite, and
Uh,
so they're not consuming as much food across the day. So it can be then quite easy to miss out on protein. So protein would always be the paramount thing, and you should also be that um, if you're a bodybuilder and you're actually trying to gain as much mass as possible, when you actually get over the age of sort of like, I don't know, 60, 65, you should actually be like eating more like a bodybuilder, um, to help maintain what you've got and offset that. Um, so I think some people when they're younger, just sort of like, between 20 and let's say like 45, whatever, some people just go overkill on the protein,
mm.
based on their training and what their needs and stuff. Whereas when you are in that older generation, you actually should really probably be pushing more to the upper range of it.
It's crazy, innit? Because how many older people do you actually see doing this? You
Oh, you
know?
don't see very many, and that's the thing. And it's like without any education, like formal education on nutrition or anything, or working with a coach, some people, might go, "Oh, I had an egg with my lunch." So it's like I had protein. Well, it's like, yeah, you did. You're getting like nowhere near enough to like stimulate MPS, so like muscle protein threshold to
So, what sort of sources of protein? Like, say, we're talking to people who, like, they're listening to this, they're older, they've got no idea about their diet or nutrition. Like, they
Mm.
walk into Tesco's. What would you be putting in their shopping trolley?
Well, let's start off with avoid the things that are listed as high protein. So, like, stay away from the highly processed foods that have protein slapped all over them because 90% of the time, like, the protein to calorie ratio is just shit. It's like
Yeah,
protein Weetabix, high protein crisps, high protein everything. So just stick to like, like,
Whole Foods.
yeah, whole food sources for your protein. So be it eggs, meat, fish, dairy sources like Greek yogurt, skyr yogurt. Um, even drinking milk is a simple one because you're also getting some other nutrients in with that as well. That would be the main thing. Obviously, if someone has specific dietary requirements, like if they're like me, they're pescatarian and things, and obviously, options are more limited because meat is off the menu. But there's still such a wide variety of fish. Like, a can of tuna gives someone like what, like 28 grams of protein.
Right.
It's such a simple thing to do, isn't it? You can make a tuna sandwich with a skyr yogurt afterwards, and you probably hit more protein than many people will get in a day.
There's just no excuse today not to hit your protein. I mean, there's just
Um,
so many sources of it.
you
Like,
just
if you
just pick
can't
up.
hit your protein today, you'll never be able to hit your protein in like any other time in your life. And I have, people say to me then, oh, I'm busy, this, that, and the other. And, we both get on calls. And look, it's just, it has to be a priority to you. Like, and I get obviously people have got more stuff going on, different responsibilities. At the end of the day, we're talking about your health. Like, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. And
Yeah.
if you're more than willing to prioritize going on your phone for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, you've definitely got the time to
Mm.
spend down on your diet and looking after your nutrition a bit more. But I don't know, it's just not thought about, is it?
No. And the other thing is like I said, some older populations maybe have a reduced appetite. So it would be also like for me. I can be like, as we have this conversation many times, I can be a pig if I want to. You can be a pig if you want to. It's like I'm sure if we both didn't eat for a day and then you got to like 7 o'clock in the evening and said, right, get 150 grams of protein down you. I have no qualms. I could absolutely get that down me, you know? Um, Whereas like a lot of people, if they don't eat protein in every meal, they're going to get to the evening and maybe go, oh, they have like, I don't know, a chicken breast or something, or even a steak. They're maybe getting like 40 grams of protein max in that meal. They're probably not going to go and eat a lot more after that. Um, so that's where it's like it's fundamental, I think, when you're older generation that you are trying to get like like three feedings a day, and that each feeding has a suitable amount of protein.
With appetite, then, like, because I've run into that issue with some people where they just say, "Sam, I'm full. Like,
Mm.
I can't eat any more protein. Like, I can't have any more skyr yogurt." Uh,
Yeah. There's a couple,
any
yeah.
productive advice to help with
Yeah,
appetite?
easy. So there's something called taste fatigue. My sister like hates that I ever mentioned this because now if we're out for dinner, like or she's out for dinner with my nephews or whatever, like one of them may not finish their main course, but go like, oh, I want dessert. And it's like, well,
Right,
you said you're full. It's like, oh no, I just got taste fatigue of that meal. So what it is basically is like imagine now you're eating, yeah, let's take yogurt for example. I just can't eat any more yogurt. But then all of a sudden you go, I'll tell you what, let's whack in some honey into it or jam, and it changes the taste. And all of a
right,
sudden, you go, oh, do you know what? I can eat more of this because it's more palatable. So if someone is struggling to eat enough protein, and they're eating very like, I don't know, bland foods or something, depending on their calorie allowance and what their goals are, add some add some sauce to it, or just change the flavor in some variety to make it more palatable, and you'll be able to eat more.
right. I got you. And in terms of the what about movement as well? Because that obviously is going to help pe make people feel a little bit hungrier too, right? Because
Yeah,
typically
yeah,
older
yeah.
people, they're just inactive. You know, they're not getting out and about for walks. Would that be another one that you would look towards as
Absolutely, yeah.
well?
Increase the steps and just walk between meals. I mean, that's serving you a double whammy, isn't it? Because you're obviously getting that movement in, which is still, whilst walking is not the same as resistance training, you are still loading your joints and your bones to maintain bone density to a degree. And yeah, you'll probably stimulate more of an appetite. It's like, people do it on Christmas Day, don't they? They go out for a walk before they're going to go and smash down some big Christmas dinner.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I think anything like that.
Yeah, well, mate, that's gold. I think people listening to that really is informative, especially about taste fatigue too. I don't think I get taste fatigue personally. I can just keep taking it down, you
Yeah,
know.
right. Okay, so like we've obviously talked about like the 1,000 calorie day challenge thing and all that before. It would be like now if I said to you, right, take down 4,000 calories all from pizza, you just get to a
Oh,
point, oh, do you know what? I just don't want. I could probably eat more food, but I don't want any more pizza. If I then said to you, right, take down 4,000 calories, in as quick a time as possible, but you can alternate between pizza, cookies, and ice cream. You would and I don't know, let's say something like chips, and you could just you like the strategy would be, I'm giving away my secrets now for out eating you one day, but like it would literally be to alternate between pizza and ice cream because you're getting over that kind of like taste fatigue thing because you're
right.
alternating between like the sweet and the savory. It's why
That makes sense.
they finish a big meal and they're like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. It's like, anyone for dessert? Oh, yes, please. Why?
Right.
Because you've always got room for that different flavor.
Right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I still think though, if I just did all pizza all day and you did that strategy, I think I could still out eat you.
On pizza.
That kills you inside, doesn't it? That absolutely kills you. I'm gonna say I'll be back now. I'm just gonna get rid of this bloody. I don't even know where it is. This bug about this big just underneath my foot, and I can see it moving about. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
it. I'm just gonna move her out the way. Hang on a second. I think it's Ewig. Fucking hell, it's propped up, ready to go. Bit, this is fucking wild.
Is that?
Yeah, fucking huge. There's, I don't want it to fucking crawl on me. Come on, you. Oh, it's rocking all over the place now. Yeah, let's get out of the room. There you go. It's done now. Um, anything else we should cover Anything else on that one?
I
Or
mean, older generations as well. The other thing would be creatine, again, for helping to maintain muscle mass as they age, but also for the neurodegenerative benefits. So, like, it can help. It can be helpful to offset things like Alzheimer's.
right. What about Parkinson's too? Is there anything related to that?
Parkinson's, I'm not sure, but if someone has epilepsy, I know a ketogenic diet can be very beneficial there.
And what's the reasons behind that? Because I have
Mechanism.
heard that. What's
Yeah,
that?
I'm not actually sure. I remember learning this through MNU, but off the top of my head, I'd have to read more about it to know exactly why. But I just know
Yeah.
that someone dealing with who has epilepsy, going ketogenic reduces, like, has been shown to reduce the amount of seizures they may suffer.
Right, yeah, I've heard of that. I didn't know the mechanisms behind why that is, but yeah, well, it's all really interesting stuff. I think quickly I want to touch on the training side for older people
Yeah,
because
of course.
that I had a lot of people reaching out and saying, what would you do with my mum who's, like never trained and she's like 80, like where do you start? And I think the key is, and this is a really important takeaway, don't just start thinking, oh, now I can start training my mum, and I can coach her. Look, if you didn't have the skill set to be able to do that properly, then it can be very dangerous, because ultimately you're trying to become a professional in something when you're not, and you're dealing with a older person,
Mm.
and then you start throwing barbells into the mix and loading that can be a recipe for disaster. So ideally, you do want to, and again, it has to be self-driven. Like you have to be willing to hire a coach or they hire a coach to help them. Now, good things to look out for. A coach should be able to have the ability to regress a lot of these movement patterns with a click of the fingers, right?
Yeah.
Like, like if you ask, if I was coaching an 85-year-old, right, for the first time who's never done this before, am I going to put them straight under a barbell? No,
Mm.
I'm not, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get them into a leg press or something where they're very stable and test their strength out from there,
Mm.
and then, over time graduate them to something like a barbell and look at the range of which they can work through and if they can even use a barbell, you know. For things like the deadlift, for instance, usually people are fine. I think that's one of the benefits to a deadlift is that you're just picking something up and down off the floor, but we're teaching you how to do it correctly. But the point is that you should have a list of regressions ready to go if you're doing this correctly. And it's never too late to start lifting. Never too late. Like there's always something that you can do. Now, even if it's just starting someone getting up and down out of a chair, 10 times. And that's one set. And then the next day you do two sets, getting up and down out of the chair 10 times. And
Mhm.
then you try doing it without using your hands, and you keep building up that way. Something just to keep moving, and to progress with. But yeah, I think those stats that we read out at the start, hopefully they hit home with people, mate, because it's so true, like it's real and it's something that people think about all these diseases and, illnesses people develop as they get older. Nobody is thinking about sarcopenia and frailty,
Mm.
and what that can do to them. So yeah, anything else you want to add to that,
No, I
mate?
don't
Or
think
should
so.
we leave
No,
that
no, no.
there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you in the next one, and hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, leave that rating, review, and subscribe.